I just hope that I get that Marvel budget one day and I'm just going to make transition the movie and it's just going to be one transition after another.
Just every scene's a transition.
Every
Yeah.
scene is going to be a transition.
Yeah.
Yes,
Every cut even.
exactly.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I was having some tech difficulties, so I'm not in my usual spot. I'm a little thrown off right now, but it's all right. It's all right.
No worries.
So happy to see you. Where the heck's Chelsea?
She's sleeping. She wasn't feeling good. She has a sore throat.
Wow, sleep is more important than us. That's fair.
Yeah, I feel like, Lauren, I feel like you're probably someone who values your sleep. I bet you get a lot of sleep.
I don't get a lot of sleep, but when I do, I could sleep for like 11, 12, 15 hours. It's my favorite thing to do.
Man, I used to be able to do that like in college, but now I can't. I can't sleep that long.
Oh, lucky? No, I could just put me to bed forever.
By having kids,
No, thank you.
Yeah.
my daughter will only sleep in our room and she now has kicked me out of the bed. So I spend, I would say 80% of my day in the house now.
Oh, that sucks, man. I'm sorry. And yet you still find the time and energy to make movies. Yeah. Hey, how did this script come to you, Darren? Because I know that, a lot of the times you write your own scripts, but this one was not written by you. It was written by a pair of guys who I was delighted to learn also wrote Max Keeble's Big Move. And the...
that's a great film, but I loved Unsane,
Yes.
which I thought they Yeah, I was working with the two producers, David and Lee, on the movie I made in Saudi Arabia with Jeremy Irons. And they didn't tell me anything about it. They just said, you have to read this. And I hate reading scripts. It's like my number one thing I hate doing. And, I started reading it. And what struck me about it was I was like, why am I reading this? It's not a horror film because it starts off like quirky and fun. And it had a very Ocean's kind of vibe to it in the very beginning. It was just like this weird crime drama, like heist film. So I think that was such a fun challenge to try to do like a genre flip in the movie where, it happened so subtly that maybe the audience didn't even realize it went into that territory.
Okay. Yeah, you were cutting out a little bit there, but it was what, just the genre flip
Oh,
from...
shit. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I don't know if it was your proximity.
It was
I
the
think it was
genre
more...
flip Yeah, I'm sorry. I suck.
No, it's the internet connection. I love that you thought if you got closer, it would get better.
You know what, Lauren, if I cut out again, I'm going to go to a different room of my house. So if I cut out again, just say stop talking. I'm going to go to a different room of the house. I apologize.
I'll do this very flailingly for you.
Flailingly, yeah.
Do you know the other thing which I loved was the movie? To me, I didn't know who the hero was or the villain, and I think that it was originally called Monster, and I think Monster may have been a better title because in the movie they both took turns being the monster. Sometimes it was Dr. Kesey and sometimes it was Paloma, and I like that they're both neither good or bad. They're both just this weird shade of gray.
I love that too. That was one of my favorite things about it. And I think Twisted works as well. It's a twisted tale that they both get intertwined with. But yeah, at first Paloma is very I can't say unlikable because it's Lauren and you never want to dislike Lauren, but she's definitely not an entirely sympathetic character. And with Jaimin, you're like, oh, this is a really, likable, intelligent guy. I'm definitely on his side. And then it kind of gets flipped or at least murky. And you're like, I don't know, you're both kind of fucked up. And I love that aspect of it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what we want. We want you to think all of our characters that we ever play are kind of fucked up because I think we're all just kind of fucked up as humans. So when we get to play those morally gray areas, it's just delicious. It's delicious. I think she's so deliciously mischievous, and I love how also fucked up Jaimin is in this movie. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, and Lauren, speaking of getting to play, you get to do some fun accent work early on as your character's going about these ruses. Was that something that you already had in your toolbox? Were you able to do those, or did you like hone up on it, practice a little bit with those?
Yeah, I think every actor says that they can do like 50 different accents, which is of course always true. But I had 3 weeks by the time that I was offered the role, accepted, and was on set to really kind of hone these accents and decide who they were. So it really wasn't a lot of time. I worked with 2 wonderful different accent coaches. When the other one wasn't available, I would work with the other. And they both said we should have at least 6 months to be doing this, but you know what? We have 3 weeks, and it'll be great. And so that it was certainly it felt like an upward battle, and it was daunting, but it was so fun. I had so much fun doing it, and there's something about changing the accent of a character that fully makes them fully fleshed out, formed humans. I often say that even putting on the hair and makeup of the character makes me have a better understanding of who that person is. So I think that for Paloma playing these characters, I think she probably feels the same way. She needed to give them an accent, and because she's so passionate about literary works, she decided to give them, Emma Woodhouse, Molly Bloom, these literary women. That she decided that this will make them more fleshed out. So I had so much fun with it. Again, it was daunting and scary, but I think Darren cultivates this set where you're allowed to make mistakes and you're allowed to be a little messy, and there's always time to fix that. And I felt like if I did make those mistakes, or if I wasn't like perfect or whatever, it would be acceptable and we'd get there. So I was very fortunate. I think he left. I don't know where he went.
I think he dropped out. He got too far away from the camera and he disconnected. Like, well, yeah, it's kind of like you even have a line in the movie where it's something like, we tried on personalities like people try on clothes, something like that. And yeah, I think that really got to the heart of Paloma. Yeah. Oh, he's back.
Sorry. Okay, continue.
Yeah. So, Darren, I noticed, and I was delighted to see, there were some of your trademark fun transitions in this movie, that I can only assume were done practically, where it transitions from one scene to a completely different one in like a practically done kind of, not even match cut, more of like a wipe. Yeah. And with these kind of directorial flares, Lauren, were there what stood out to you the most that was different about being on a Darren Lynn Bousman set than your previous work?
Besides my insanity, craziness, ADHD, sorry.
That goes without saying, though. I think people watching now, I don't need to preface, I'm sure they're already aware. But what I really loved about Darren is he prefaces things often, because I think he really wants you to understand his artistic vision, and it's helpful for an actor. I mean, maybe some actors don't want to hear it; they just don't want to get like distracted by it. But I found it, because it gave me a better understanding of what kind of story he was trying to tell. Like, I remember him explaining and this one isn't a spoiler because it's in the trailer, the pool transition, and also like there's a moment in the pool where it transitions from Mia's drapey, what was she wearing? A robe to to sheets. And there was just something kind of romantic about that. And I think it again is assisted storytelling in that it lends itself to who these two people are, Paloma and Smith, and what their relationship is like. I do think there is this kind of sexy romanticism to them both. And I think those transitions assist in telling that story. So I think Darren telling me that, and I think sometimes he thought he was long-winded. He never was, because I found it interesting, because it's not how my brain works as an actor. It helped me understand just the story more. So I was grateful.
Well, I was excited to be able to do them. I mean, the reality is I did a bunch of them for Spiral that ended up all getting cuts. And there's two camps. I mean, I always talk about, this is the movie business. There's a business side to making movies. I wish it can just be the art and just the movie side, but it's not. And so on something like Spiral, they were too arty. And I think Mark Berg said, we're not making an A24 movie. We're making Spiral with Chris Rock and Sam Jackson. And I was like, well, I fucking love A24 movies. We should put some of these in here. They all got cut. And I think that the reality is they are cool. They are very visual, but they're also, they cost money. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but like an example is let's say that I have a transition where a character wipes from one location into another, but they're not scheduled on that other day because they're not written in the script. So when you board a script out, you might say, hey, all of Crace's scenes take place in these 3 locations, so he only comes to set for the first 2 weeks. But that location's at the end of the schedule. And so they're like, what do you mean you want Crace at this? No, we're not going to spend, $5,000 to fly him back in so you can wipe and do some film school douchebag artistic thing. So I think we started off with 10 I wanted to do, and I think we ended up with 5 in the movie. And I just hope that I get that Marvel budget one day, and I'm just going to make transition the movie, and it's just going to be one transition after another.
Just every scene's a transition.
Every
Yeah.
scene is going to be a transition.
Yeah.
Yes,
Every cut, even.
exactly. I want to recommend a movie really quick.
Yeah.
There's a movie that I stole them from that I fucking love, and I realized later that David Hackle was the production designer, and David Hackle directed one of the Saw films. It was a production designer called Jerry and Tom. Sam Rockwell is in it. I believe it's Sam Rockwell and Joe Mantegna, but there's this great shot where they are walking outside in the summer, and the crane follows them from the summer and goes over this wall into a parking lot, and it's snowing. And without cutting, Sam has gone from summer clothes into winter clothes. And I always remember like being like, oh my God, that looked like a magic trick for my eyes in real time. And you can tell it was practical. They've got some really fun ones in that film. So I recommend people go check that out too.
I'll have to check
First
that out.
watch Twisted. First watch Twisted, then go watch Jerry and Tom.
No, I'll definitely check that out. But I feel like it's going to be hard to beat the Saw 4 through the window. I mean, I think that's the peak of it all.
Thank you.
Yeah, Darren, Lauren kind of just called you a romantic director. You ever been called that before?
No. You know what though? I've realized I've reframed the movies that I've made through my life experience. And now that I have kids and I have a wife and I have all this stuff, I think that everything now stems from a place of love, including violence, meaning that I remember one of my biggest reactions of any movie I've done in a theater was not one of my most popular movies. I still like it, but it was a movie called Mother's Day. And there is a scene where the actor Lyric Bent is getting tortured by Rebecca De Mornay, and water is being poured into his ear, this boiling water. And I decided that it would be a cooler idea to push in on the wife's reaction to it as opposed to watching it happen. I remember the gasp in the audience because it is so disturbing when you see how your actions affect someone else. Love. And I think in this, whether that is Jaimin, what he is doing for the love of his wife, or what Lauren is doing for Smith, and then watching how their actions affect the other person. Without giving spoilers, what Lauren's actions do to affect Smith, what Jaimin's actions do to affect his wife. And I think that reframing violence or horror and the idea of relationships and love is just something that's, I guess, as I've grown older, it's just the way I look at things now.
Yeah, and it works. Just got a few more minutes here. So real fast, I guess, Lauren, you wear a lot of wigs, like literally in this movie. Did any of them make you consider changing your hair color, or are you set with the with the dark natural?
Yes, I loved the red was the first wig I put on, and Derek, who was fantastic, he really like made it look. Some people asked who were hair and makeup artists, like, was that your real hair? I'm like, no, it's this wig that I put on because Derek did such an amazing job. I really loved the red. Ever since seeing Nicole Kidman in Practical Magic, I was like, she is who I want to be forever. And I want that hair so badly. So I got to have my kind of red haired Nicole Kidman moment. I would love to go red. But I just think it's a lot of maintenance. So I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
And then I don't want to spoil anything, but near the end, your hair undergoes a different transformation. And looking at you now, I have to assume that was all effects, but it looks amazing because, I mean, watching it and having, followed you on social media, I'm like, okay, this wasn't done for real, but how'd you get that to look so good, Darren? Again, trying not to spoil things.
Do you know what I didn't realize? How much wigs cost, good wigs. We made this movie on a very little budget, and we had to be very creative in how we did things. And I remember that scene that you're talking about, and it's not that much of a spoiler, so I'll say what you're talking about. Lauren shaves her head, and or she doesn't shave her head is shaved. We kept waiting and waiting for this wig, and every wig that showed up looked ridiculous. So obviously we can't have Lauren shave her head. And so everything just looked terrible. And finally, our effects artist, this guy Sven, who I've worked with a bunch, found this wig that kind of matched Lauren's hair. And it's complicated because you can't put weight on a bald cap because you're wearing a bald cap and her real hair is behind the bald cap. And so when you're putting pressure on it, the bald cap begins to move. So it was as simple as that shot looks. It was extremely complicated to. And in fact, if I'm going to say the biggest nightmare of this movie, it was hair and head, because all of these are practical brains that you're seeing, that we're doing it practically. But when you do a practical brain, you have hair like Lauren, and she's got a lot of hair. It's under a bald cap, and then on top of that, there is another thing placed for a brain. You have to then all of a sudden you have a 24-inch forehead. Your head is like a cone head that's up to here, and having to then shrink the head down, literally lower the head like 12 inches down back to the head, and make that look realistic as they're flailing around and moving and doing all of that. So I think the biggest nightmare in this movie was Lauren's hair, and I really, in retrospect, now wish Lauren, I would have forced you to shave it so we would not have had to deal with the insanity of this.
That would have been a continuity nightmare. But yes, I do. Darren's right. I have a lot of very thick hair. So before visual effects, because the visual effects did shrink a bit, I just looked like a light bulb. And I will definitely be sharing pictures once the movie's out.
Well, next time you'll have to Emma Stone and Begonia, you know? Just
I know, right?
commit.
She committed. She committed, Lauren. She shaved her head. What did you do? Didn't shave your head.
Sorry to call you out like that.
My nice hair. So
All right. Well, that's about it for time. And I hear Molly barking her brains out. So I'm going to go tend to that. But thank you guys so much. It was so fun to watch this movie. I can't wait for people to see it. And it's great just to see you guys both work together. We love you both. And it's good to see you guys. It just makes sense to me.
Well, thank you very much. Hopefully it's the first of many. But can I really will tell you to end this? I was very excited to ask Lauren to sign my poster. And she signed my movie poster, and it said, Darren, you made a movie and I was in it, Lauren. And that about sums up the relationship.
okay, but his said, Lauren, out of all of the actors I've ever worked with, you are one of them. So yes, that is.
See, that makes sense. Yeah, you guys just you go together. I think you guys get each other. All right, well, thanks a lot.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Take care. See you later.